And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports for the post-match player ratings show. And basically, what's going to happen now, we're going to go through, on the back of that Springbok performance, we're going to go through each and every single one of player, and we're going to give them a rating 1 to 10. Before I basically do a bit of a breakdown of the match, I want you to go and use the link in the pinned chat, which is going to be there in a bit, and go and vote for the players. And then we will basically give an average rating, and then we'll basically decide a man of the match. But before we do that, let's get into the game, shall we? Springboks 55, Georgia 10. On the face of it, job done, I suppose, at the end of the day, because the goal was always to win. It was always to win relatively big, was to try new combinations, to get some new players onto the field. We ticked a lot of those boxes. There will be a feeling a little bit of sloppiness in amongst the box, which maybe sounds harsh when a team scores 55 points, but we also did score 3 tries in the last 3 minutes to sort of put that score on. And I think realistically, we weren't as clinical, we weren't as solid as we probably wanted to be, before the kickoff of the game. If you had asked us, in the week, kind of what you wanted to do. And it took us a while. And I think also, we do have to give a bit of credit to Georgia, who are not the pushover side that I think everybody thinks of. They are the 11th ranked side in the world, yes. I do think we are seeing a slight sort of improvement in the Tier 2 nations, where it's no longer just as soon as you play a Tier 2 nation, it's going to be 100 plus points. So I think there are better sides than that, than there were maybe 10, 15 years ago. Having said that, I do think the box should have been far more clinical, and there were definitely moments today where we were sitting there going, that's not really acceptable. When we did score tries, we scored some absolute pearlers. And what we've definitely noticed is a deliberate change in the way the box are playing. We're keeping the ball alive. We're running it from deep. We're trying to go wide quite quickly. We've got wraparounds. We've got offloads in the tackle. We've got offloads, off the ground and the likes of that. So we're trying to up the tempo. And I think the reason that we're going to up the tempo is to try and enhance the impact of our bench, to try and run teams ragged. And I mean, Ruan Okia getting man of the match of the year on the screen, massive shift from him. And he's really putting his hand up at the moment to be involved with the box in some of the big games. But it's about adapting to this game plan. And I think that's kind of the reason we've seen stronger teams being picked against Italy. And even now, a pretty strong team being picked for Georgia is because we've got a new game plan. We've got a new way we want to play. But we need to try and refine it. And we need to start giving players opportunities to do that in a match situation. But let's have a look at exactly how things sort of transpired, shall we? So we actually went down. First up, Kokadza went over and scored the first try of the game in the second minute. A more try as well. So we talked about things that are kind of almost like red flag moments. Conceding another more try is probably one of those moments, And that's something that, regardless of whether we're trying things, should not be happening, So that is a major work on versus, we had a few knock-ons because we were trying, Hail Mary pass and the likes of that. So we went down, but it didn't take us long to get back. And I'll tell you what, our first 2 tries coming from debutants, Bowen Fenter going over in the 8th minute. It is quite a long way from Cape Town to Mbombela, and from Gqeberha to Mbombela, but Sasha Van Zulu left his kicking boot somewhere because he was not good off the tee. In fact, he only got his first conversion on the 4th attempt. So we were actually still down after that first try. Then Miles van der Merwe scored on the back of our first more try of the day. And then Kane Moody. Now, Kane Moody's try is the reason why it's exciting, despite a bit of sloppiness, is because you look at the build-up and, the aerial game and the winning the ball in the aerial game, and then some of the lines being run by Grant Williams as Peter Toy runs a dummy line, opens up a gap that Grant Williams takes. And it's just, when you see some of these moves coming together, you can just see the thinking, you can see the plan, and you can see how exciting it is. But it's not always going to happen perfectly. And I think that's the big thing that we're trying to refine now, is becoming a lot more consistent with putting that sort of stuff up. And the Kane Moody try was gorgeous. It was really, really good. So suddenly you go up to 15-7, you're thinking, here we go. Georgia kicked a penalty in the 28th minute. For Edel van der Merwe scored his first try. Very easy try, in fairness. Has scored a couple of very good ones in his first few games. In fact, he's 5 in 3 games. But this time it was just relentless pressure, to be honest, from the box. And then a ball over the top from Grant Williams, straight to the hands of Van der Merwe, who strolled over. Sasha, this time, finding it. So at 22 points to 10 at half time, we probably weren't particularly happy, to be brutally honest. Yes, we scored 4 tries. We had left 6 points out there, so it should have been 28 points to 10. But we conceded 2 tries, or a try, and more try, more importantly. I just don't think we were as clinical as we wanted to be. The second half, we started well. Mons van der Merwe went over for try number 2. And then Willemse came on in the 55th minute when we deployed our bomb squad about the 47th, 48th minute. And then Willemse came on shortly after that and went over for a try, looked pretty good at the back of a scrum, just sort of glided through and darted down. Pollard then adding the extras. And then Edel van der Merwe went over in the 72nd minute with a really intelligent try. After, to be fair, 56 to 70 minutes, we just couldn't really find points. And that's where I think, we had a period of 15 minutes of sloppiness. And maybe it was a bit easy to become quite negative during that period because there was just so much going on, so much unstructured play that it just looked very messy, to be perfectly honest. And I think Georgia did that quite deliberately to try and make it messy. And I also think we were very, very consciously trying not to be overly structured, set up a maul or set up a ruck, go one phase to the ball, kick deep, try and play a very structured, coordinated game. I think we were quite happy to try and play a little bit in the unstructured, sections and sort of see how that looks. But then a very intelligent piece of play, some really nice moves, a little chip over the top from Faf de Klerk, and Edel van der Merwe said, thank you very much. And then some fantastic rugby after that. I mean, Curtly Arnston's try, all stemming from Arcus Neyman getting an offload on the ground, chicken wing pass to the hands of Grant Williams, who gives it to Curtly Arnston. And then we once again make a really good break, a couple of good breaks, and Pollard strides over and he adds the extra 2 points. So, in the end, all very straightforward, but maybe not as straightforward as we would have liked. So if you look at some of the stats, 3.6 points per entry. We entered the 22 15 times compared to Georgia's 6. So again, that all looks pretty straightforward in all honesty. We look at the attack profile. Now, this I think is really exciting. Look at how much, we've got lots of 22 entries, lots of post-contact meters, lots of line breaks, plenty of carries, but also a reasonable amount of kicks. You can see how Georgia looked to try and kick a lot more than us, and that was exciting. 6 line breaks, but 242 post-contact meters. And it shows you that our approach is pretty multifaceted, to be honest. It's not just, a case of kick meters and or line breaks or specifically just carries and relentless carries. It's a bit of a combination. Obviously, the big thing we want to try and dominate on the day is the physicality and lots of dominant tackles being made, which was good to see. Missed a few tackles, but some turnovers. Our breakdown work wasn't too bad today. Ruck speed, very, very good. I mean, 63% of our rucks in 0 to 3 seconds is not normal at all. And we had well over 85% of our rucks, within 6 seconds. So we can see as a conscious, and you're always going to get that with Grant Williams, in particular. But even when Faf de Klerk came on, there was definitely a conscious moment of trying to play quickly. And that, I think, was a very, very effective way of really setting things up. But sometimes maybe it was too quick. Sometimes, we almost took the ball out and we weren't quite set, or people didn't quite know where they needed to be. But again, that's all part of the process. If we look at some of the stats, territory-wise, pretty 50-50. Possession, 53%, 47%. But set plays, 100% scrum record, that was pretty good. Lineouts, however, Bongi Manami in particular, needs to sort it out because there were far too many lineouts that weren't good enough. That one restart that we didn't receive was when Damien Delende knocked it on. Apart from that, we were relatively solid, but I'm a little bit worried about our lineouts. They've been a bit sloppy. So that's definitely also one of our work-ons on the attack. Looked pretty standard. Penalties, 9 penalties conceded to 8. Not too much to worry about there. And defense-wise, 82%. Not too much to worry about there. In terms of individual performances, Damien Delende carrying very well, as always. Kane Moody getting on the ball a lot. Again, we've probably seen Kane Moody getting more on the ball than we might have seen like a Jason Creel in the last few years. And I'm not saying that's necessarily just because of a Jason Creel versus Kane Moody, but there's definitely a ploy to get them more involved. To get them opportunities to have a go. Edel van der Merwe had 2 line breaks. We had Grant Williams with 2 line breaks. That's why I'm going to do with 1. George did all the tackles. We didn't actually have anybody who tackled more than, I think about 10 tackles was our highest tackle, which I think actually was Ruan Nokia. And look, at the end of the day, as I said, job done. Were there work-ons? 100%. It'd be interesting to see what Rassi Rasmus has to say. But we are definitely seeing a new style of rugby being created. And it's going to take a while before we can really be that clinical and we can kind of play to that game plan flawlessly. What I think the big question is what do we do against an Australia and a New Zealand and an Argentina and Ireland and a France? Are we going to see this, or are we going to see us move back to a more traditional Springbok game time? Only time will tell. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. And now we want to basically just talk a little bit about the player ratings and how it's going to work. As mentioned, you guys have got a link in the chat there, and I want you to go and first of all click on it and open it, and that gives you a breakdown of all the players, and it's every single player, and it's a rating of 1 to 10. And basically how the software or the program works is that player, and then we give them a rating between 1 to 10, and it gives you basically the average user rating. So that's the big thing, in terms of what we're looking for, really. Now, we need some man of the match nominations, people, and that's what I'm asking for you right now. What are your man of the match nominations here? So Ruan Okia had the official man of the match. So let's throw him in there and ask who. Let's just put this over here. Who was your man of the match? I'm going to put in Ruan Okia, but I need you guys to give me some nominations, yeah. Who are we adding to the man of the match chat? Is anybody? Grant Williams, I see a mention there. Dorian says, Okia has his moments. Where we at? Come, people, I need man of the match nominations. Who are we putting in there? I'm seeing Moody and Edville. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. We've got Cheslin Colby and Kurt Lawrence, so we're pretty lucky. And then Edwin van der Merwe comes and scores 5 tries in 3 games. Grant Williams seems to be a popular choice as well. I am seeing a couple of people saying Moody. Is there anybody else we're sort of throwing in there? I'm seeing Damon De Allende. I'm not seeing an Edville. I'm pretty sure I saw more than one. There we go. A couple of Kanan Moody's there. So let's throw in Kanan Moody. And then you guys can get voting on that, and we'll go to that at the end to give you guys the most possible amount of time to sort of sort that out. And I'm just going to make sure that our reviews all up there, and we're going to make sure we're already. Hang on, I'm on the wrong blooming thing here. No, we're not. All right. I'm just making sure this is all working, which it does appear to be working. And then a reminder, by the way, we're going to be live in just over an hour because we're going to be doing the Junior Bok game, and that's going to be very exciting. Very, very, very excited for that. So we're going to go through this, have a bit of a break. We'll have the Rusty Rasmus press conference, and you guys can go and enjoy that. And then we're going to regather basically in an hour's time and hopefully watch our Junior Boks win the trophy, win the Under-20 Championship for the first time in 13 years. Andre Pollard was one of the big names in that side that won it down in Newlands in front of a home crowd. So big game coming up in an hour's time. Should we get into our ratings? I think that's a good idea. I think that is a good idea. And I want to see what I'm interested to see what the man of the match is going to be. It's going to be a difficult man of the match to choose. There were some very good performances. And again, not a perfect game, but a decent game. I mean, again, you're not going to complain any time when you score 50 to 55 points, but it definitely wasn't flawless. And yeah, I think it's yeah, I'm so like on the fence kind of about where we're at with that performance, because half of me is saying maybe a bit of room to be worried, and half of me saying, yeah, I don't know. Half of me saying we don't need to worry because it's just us trying new things. So I'm not quite sure what the chat is, to be honest. But anyway, I suppose we'll dissect a bit more in the next few days. So let's get into the player ratings, and then we'll kind of worry about it, shall we? Because yeah, otherwise we're going to go around in circles a little bit. Right, and first up, we have got a Bowen Fenter. Now, I thought Bowen Fenter, where's my phone, so I can get some stats, check the statistics. I thought Bowen Fenter was very good on debut. Looked very, very... very comfortable. And I think that that's going to be an interesting player to track because, you know, that's something like Instuka Mkunu needs to come back into the side. And somebody the other day was saying we don't have any sort of test-proven loose heads. And loose head, I think, is quite a contentious position. We've got Oxen Che, is absolutely world-class. But after that, with the retirement of Steven Kitsov, we are definitely out there searching for our next big, player at loose head. And that's South Africa versus Italy. Where's today's game? Here we go. Let's look at some of the stats. And Bowen Fenter, right. 4 carries, 5 points. Oh, what a try, by the way. I'm probably seeing a 7 for Bowen Fenter. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking he had quite a good game. So I'm going to give Bowen Fenter a 7. I'm 6.9, so I've gone slightly higher than some other people over there. But I think he was good. I don't think we can really complain about the game. Mons van der Merwe scored at the back of 2 more tries, so maybe a slight, asterisk next to them. But again, I thought he was pretty solid. He had a very good breakdown, a win. So he had a good turnover. He made 5 tackles, missed just the 1 tackle, 5 carries though. I thought his lines were pretty good. I'm happy to give him a 7. I think he was good. 7.4, yeah. So we're a little bit higher there. So I've gone a bit lower than a couple people, but that's fine. Netley Bashir was quiet, but Taite is always kind of quiet. I mean, he scrummed relatively well, but yeah, I think I could have seen a bit more from him. I'm probably sitting at a 6 for Netley, 6.3, so maybe I've gone a bit low compared to what everybody else said. Christian says in the comments that Bowen is solid. Double says the Pumas will have a field day at breakdown at this rate. Italy and Georgia not top notch. And yeah, I'm very interested to sort of see what that's going to look like. Moving forward, where am I at? Here we go. Just going to make sure we're ready for the press conference, which is going to start coming through here. So I'll be with you guys in just a second, but it's either that or you're not going to get a press conference. So pick your battles. Okay, so yeah, so we got 6.3 for Netley Bashir. And Peter Steph the Toy, 6 carries, 10 I mean, he was absolutely everywhere. Why am I Peter Steph the Toy? I'm at Evan Etzebeth. Yeah, there we go. Evan Etzebeth. I thought another good game from Evan Etzebeth. Pretty solid. In fact, I'm probably going to give Evan an 8. I think that he got around the park. 6.7. Maybe I'm being overly thin, but he had the charge down. He didn't carry a lot, but he tackled pretty well. I think that's maybe a bit harsh to end up on a 6.7 here for Eben. I think that's a bit maybe a bit harsh. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Ruan Nokia, we got man of the match, and he threw himself around. Had a very, very solid performance. I thought he was very good. 11 carries, 10 tackles, 2 defenders beaten. I'm going to give him a 9. I think that you don't get much better than that kind of performance, to be perfectly honest. You guys have gone with an 8, slightly lower, but I don't mind that. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's pretty fair. Siaklisi, I don't think it was his best game, coming back to full fitness, really, from a game point of view. But he got around the park. He tackled well. He didn't miss much. He carried pretty well as well. I think probably a 7 from him. I think it was pretty solid. 6.1, I feel that's a bit harsh. I think he was generally quite good. And, yeah, I mean, PSF the Toy, now we can visually get onto him, was absolutely everywhere. He's so good as PSF the Toy. I'm at an 8 for him. 6.7, I can't understand that. I mean, he was everywhere. He is so consistent. And I don't know what we're going to do when he leaves, when he goes. Because he's just such a difficult person to stop. Now, Kubas Visa, I'm interested that I don't think the Kubas Visa experiment quite worked. It was decent. I mean, he's definitely an option, but I don't think it was quite the impact we had hoped he was going to get. So I'm probably sitting at about 9 carries, 5 tackles, missed 2 tackles though, dropped the ball once or twice. So Yeah, I'm kind of probably at a 6 for Cobus Visa. And who's sitting down at this press conference? Is that Rusty Rasmus sitting down at the press conference with a beer? My man. My man. He is indeed, eh? What a lad. He's on the cool drink, and so now where we are. So Cobus Visa, so I've gone 6, and you guys are going with a 5.8. So we're pretty aligned with that, in fairness. And I don't think that that's too bad to be within point two. So let's keep going, shall we? So Grant Williams, I thought Grant Williams had a very strong game. Very, very good game from Grant Williams. Didn't actually make a tackle, fun fact. But a couple of good clean breaks. I'm probably seeing a 7 from him. I thought he was pretty good. 8, see, I don't know if he was... Yeah, a couple of good breaks. And maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe I'm being harsh. Let me give him an 8, shall I? And yeah, people have gone a bit higher than that. So, yeah, but a decent performance, though, from Grant Williams. Right, Sasha, let's address the elephant in the room. Did not kick very well today, if we're going to be brutally honest. His kick success rate was 20%. He didn't miss a tackle, however, and a couple of kick chases, a couple of nice moves, but not probably his best game. So I'm probably going to give Sasha a 6. 5.2, I think, is a bit harsh. I think he was very good to lose, but again, we we'll be fine. We'll be fine. It's a blip, but I don't think it's a strong performance, but I think he'll get back from it quite well. I definitely don't agree with Jacques who says Sasha's a 2. It wasn't that bad. He just kicked badly off the tee. Everywhere else, he was relatively good. I do think that he is probably better at fullback right now from a Buck point of view. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I think that his individual X factor is pretty good, but I think he struggled at the moment to really sort of release the backline. Definitely not as good as well as, for example, that Manny Liebach did last week. So Curtly Arnstead, another good game from him. I mean, didn't miss a tackle, didn't have much to do, but scored when he needed to. Probably give Curtly a solid 7. 7, there we go. We're aligned there. Damien Delende, he was absolutely everywhere, as he always is. Just gets through so much work, does Damien. 38 meters gained on defender beaten, 6 tackles made. I'm at a 7 for Damien. Very solid work. 7.1. Pretty close there. Caden Moody, very strong game from Caden Moody. And missed a few tackles, but looked bright with ball in hand. And I'm probably at a 7 for him. I'm not sure I'm at 8. He missed a couple of tackles, a couple of mistakes in this. Maybe I'm a bit low, maybe I'm being a bit harsh. But looks very comfortable at 13, which is very, very good to see. But yeah, I mean, stats-wise, did miss 4 tackles, a couple of bad passes, but also some really good moments. He had some fantastic moments, really. And you sat there going, well, here we go. This is why there's so much reason to be excited about a Caden Moody. And I'll be interested to see how much we see. Edward van der Merwe, can we talk about the fact that he's got 5 tries in 3 games? I mean, he's making international rugby look incredibly easy. Didn't miss a tackle either. 1 a turnover. 74 meters gained. 3 defenders beaten. 2 clean breaks. 2 offloads. 10 points. I mean, you've got to be at an 8 at least. If not, probably I'm actually with a 9. Him and Nokia are probably the 2 best players in the park today. I'm going to give him a 9. 8.2. What did we give Nokia? Because I'm pretty sure I gave him a 9 and it came out at 8. So actually, well, maybe I pushed it a bit higher, but Curtly Arnstead currently with the highest rating. But I thought he was so good today. Apile Fassi was solid. Probably had the better game between him and David Mbombela. Didn't tackle at all. He had to make 1 tackle. He kind of missed it. But another solid game from Fassi. I'm going to give him a 7. Maybe I've gone a bit high. It wasn't his best game, but I think he was starved a little bit of opportunities. Right, Bongi Manambi, I'm going to be very harsh and give him a 5. His line works was not good enough. And you guys agree. Thomas Tatoy, probably a 5 as well. I don't think he did much. 5.4, maybe I've gone a bit harsh. Vincent Koch, probably a 6. I think he was the best of those 3 that came on. 5.4. Arcus Name was very bright when he came on, though. Good offloads, good physicality. I'm going to give him a 7. Nice performance from him. Quacker Smith, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. Looked very bright. Added a bit of pace to the game. Carried really well. Got stuck in quite quickly. So I'm going to give him a 7 over there. 7.1. Faf de Klerk. That was pretty solid, actually. I'll probably give him a 7 as well. Definitely sped things up as well. Andre Pollard couldn't really say did much wrong in all fairness. So probably give him a 7. And Damian Williams, one big mistake, but also scored a try. And everything else was relatively solid. So I'll probably give him a 6. I think that under the high balls maybe, though. And maybe I'm being a bit harsh. Maybe I'll give him a 7. Doesn't really change the rating. Right, well, there we go. And right, now we go to vote Rusty. Now, this is always an interesting one. Now, we won 55 points 10, so, you know, it's always going to get a relatively high rating. I do worry a little bit about some of the players, and I think we've got some big conversations to have over the likes of, like a Bongi Manambi, for example, and given the way Mars Van der Merwe played. So I'm probably going to give Rusty, I kind of have to give him a 7 because we did win relatively well. Could have been better, though. I'm not going to give an 8. You guys are going with 7.5, so that's your final vote over there. And then the final thing we've got to do before we wrap up is our man of the match. And it's pretty close to man of the match, actually, between Ruan Nokia and Edward van der Merwe. And it is 35% of the votes. We have got our Forever Sports man of the match. And it is Ruan Nokia with 205 votes. Very good work that from him. And I think that's a bit of a landmark performance, genuinely, from Ruan Nokia. And I think that'll put him on the map quite hectically. So there we go, people. Thank you very much. We're going to be live in an hour. I know we had to go through it quite quickly, but we've got lots to get through because we got the junior block game coming up, which is very exciting. So we'll see you guys all then. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. We're getting agonizingly close to that 90,000 mark. In fact, we're sitting at about 89,500. You know, so we'd love to get there this weekend if we can.